We'll have the same speaker. We're going to find out. Joining us now, Congressman, represents 4th District right here, Tennessee, Scott DesJarlais. Thanks so much for coming on today. And obviously, we've talked to Burchett. Everybody's talked about, will Mike Johnson still be there? Won't he be there? It's chaos, man. And I'm telling you right now, I think he's going to be there, but I just feel like this is shaping up to be a battle all the time when it comes to the Speaker of the House.
Oh, boy. Yeah, Chad, well, first of all, our maiden voyage, first time on with you. Happy to be here. Thank you for asking me. We of course, 2 years ago had Kevin McCarthy, went 15 rounds, 4 days, absolutely ridiculous. This time we've got a slimmer margin. We're going to have 219 because Matt Gaetz is gone, so we can really only lose one person, and Tom Massey has vowed not to vote for him, and I think Victoria Sparks, who has also indicated she might not or might vote present, is going to change things. We can really only lose one person. We could have one person vote present and lose one person and still get there, but this is where President Trump needs to come in and get these people lined up and tell him, hey, let's get off to a great start here. We don't need to have a circus. We got a lot of work to do. People elected him with the popular vote, pretty much kind of a landslide, a mandate, in my opinion. We got the Senate. We have a slim majority in the House, and if we can't learn to work together in the House in a big hurry, that's on us. And so pretty important that we get this done.
Congressman, the thing that frustrates me is, look, do I like everything that Kevin McCarthy did? No. Do I like everything that Mike Johnson? No, you're not going to like all that. The issue I have is, at some point in time, you're going to make that job so untenable that getting somebody that anybody can agree on is going to be virtually impossible because you don't have like a 12 or 15, person majority.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask the half a dozen people that are saying they're unsure, like, who's their guy or who's their gal? Who's their person that can do this? Because John Boehner wasn't perfect. Newt Gingrich wasn't perfect. Paul Ryan wasn't perfect. It's a really tough job when you have a slim majority. The most important thing we can do is, frankly, be like Nancy Pelosi's team and stick together when it comes to important votes. And she was a master at keeping her party together, where we have, a half a dozen people that can't get to yes if you give them everything they ask for and more. So, the 119th Congress could be very successful or it can be a disaster if we don't learn to work together as a team.
Talking to Congressman Scott DesJarlais as we talk about the Speaker of the House. Trump is obviously having a big influence on this. He came out, he supported Mike Johnson. He doesn't want this thing to start off wonky. But there is that fear because, the minute this thing goes a little sideways and, first of all, certification of the election, but then on top of that, it looks and feels like a clown show.
Yeah, and it was a clown show last year, and people learned that, they could get things if they held out. There was, some people that took 6, 7, 8 votes, and then next thing you know, they're on an A committee, they're this or that. And so, Kevin had to promise things to people, and that didn't make a lot of people happy because, you kind of have to earn your stripes up there. And so people played him a little bit. And Kevin is a dear friend of mine, and yeah, he wasn't perfect, but I wish he was still our speaker. Mike Johnson's a very intelligent guy. He's humble. I think he can do just as good a job as anybody else. Steve Scalise is a good guy. But right now, Mike Johnson's our guy. And we need to get everybody lined up. We need to get him voted in. Trump's got executive orders lined up on day one. We've got immigration reform on day one. We've got so many things that the people voted for, and what I would call a mandate that we need to get this going and get the country back on track. And so let's hope that come, Friday? Let's hope on Friday we go through one round, we have a speaker, and then we get to work.
When you look at the speaker and you look at what the slim majority is, what's the argument for him and against him? Because we can all be frustrated with spending too much money or money going here, money going there, certain things. But what is that argument that by doing nothing or changing him is going to fix any of that?
Yeah, that's the question, is to all these people who have a little bit of a problem with him, who's their magic man, or magic woman that is going to come in there and get everything right and do everything right. It's a matter of teamwork. It's a matter of calling, all running the same play at the same time. And Trump's going to have a big hammer here, and he's going to have to be very engaged with people. And some people, they want attention. They want to get little one-on-one meetings with Trump. So, I don't know what the reason for that is, but I guess, Trump is going to have to definitely carry a big stick, and that's the secret to success, because there's going to be people that just for whatever reason don't want to do things, and we will fail if that happens. So I think the Senate will work pretty well. I think the House can work well, but yeah, who's the speaker? If not Mike Johnson, who's the speaker that can make all this happen better than he can?
When you pose that to people, because that's always my thing. Okay, so not him, then who? What is their answer? Because a lot of times what I feel happens, Congressman, is you have a lot of people in there who are more interested in their Twitter followers than the people they represent. And they're more interested in being on Fox and all these other things than representing. They're celebrities. That's what they are.
Yeah, the bomb throwers get attention. And so, they can raise money, and they can make a small group of people happy. And we've seen a lot of them do it, but that's not what we're there for. That's not our job right now. These are critical times. We've got energy independence. Within our grasp, we've got to rebuild the military. We got to get rid of the wokeness, the DEI. We got to bring inflation down. We got to do these mass deportations, not absorb 10, 12, 20 million new illegals into our country and survive. We've got to do all these things, and there's going to be a lot of pain involved. There's people are going to say, well, gosh, yeah, I want cuts, but it's going to take an all-in approach here if we're going to turn this on. You don't turn a carrier around in 2 minutes. It's going to take time. We got good minds. We got Vivek Ramaswamy. We got Elon Musk, who, in my opinion, is like the Thomas Edison of our time. We got super smart people, and I think Trump's put together, and the people are asking to make significant changes, and we have that opportunity. We had it in 2017, and frankly, we didn't do as well as this time. We don't have much choice. We got to get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to Congressman Scott DesJarlais, and one of the things I've talked about is everybody says, well, Trump's got 4 years. No, Trump really has a year and a half to get this thing on the direction and a path that goes right, because otherwise you guys face the opportunity, really the challenge to not only lose the House but lose the Senate, because you're defending more there. And if that happens, then he's back to being a lame duck, and who knows what happens from there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a lame duck. And in a way that's good, because he's not a threat. You even see the liberal media like, okay, well, let's give him not a threat to him long term. Maybe J.D. Vance or somebody will become that in a couple of years. But right now, everybody feels the pain. They didn't buy Kamala Harris was, going to come out and rescue her here, that Joe Biden wasn't. They knew that the economy was terrible. They know what they're paying. You were paying. We see what's going on in the world with the military. And thankfully, the American people were smart enough to make a choice. And you're right, the guy's year and a half. And really, the first 100 days are going to be transformative if we do this right. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic, and it feels good to be optimistic after a lot of frustration in Washington in the last few years. And so, let's get the ball rolling and start off on a good foot on January 3rd, and let's see how much we can accomplish in the first 100 days. I think it'll be a lot.
Talking to Congressman Scott DesJarlais as we talk about the speaker. Let's move on from there. First 100 days, super important, not only for Trump, but for the Republicans across the board, because there's a lot you need to do. And over the last 20 or 30 years, Congress, I think, has given a little bit too much of their power away. You guys feel like you can get some of that stuff back?
Well, I mean, we've got to try. It's draining the swamp is a big job, and it doesn't happen overnight. I know people are expecting miracles, but I think that we can do several things in terms of regulations. I think we can do things, like prices aren't going to drop 50% overnight, but maybe they'll quit going up. Maybe people can afford to buy homes again. And, maybe we can get our own workforce working, and we can clear out a lot of the crime and illegal immigration that has taken over our country, and people can have faith and be proud of being an American again. But it's a tall task, and we're asking an awful lot of one person who came in with a lot of promises, but it's our job in the House and the Senate to help him, and we need to do the best we can. But you can't undo 20, 30 years of mismanagement in 1 year, but we can certainly give it a good try.
When the Doge to me is it's interesting, but one of the things that we talk about, like you say, you and I are it was the first time we're chatting, but on my show, I've always talked about the fact that I don't think people realize that when they talk about the swamp, most of it's bureaucracy, right? The deep state is smaller versions of, with a little bit more power, of bureaucracy that they can sway things. But government is the biggest lobbyist of government, and it's all about protecting government. And so many of these things that we would like to see them do, legally, they won't have that power.
And you may have hit the nail on the head right there, because there is a deep state. We saw weaponization in the DOJ and FBI and other areas that that they kind of think they run the show, because these presidents, they come, they go, congressmen, senators, they come, they go. But right now we have an opportunity to change that culture. And unlike most presidents who are run by the deep state, like Biden was, he was clearly a puppet. Kamala Harris was a puppet. Trump doesn't answer to anybody. Trump is not afraid of these people. And so we've never had a better opportunity to get rid of a lot of the deep state issues that you mentioned. I mean, there is a two-tier system of justice in this country. They can sit there and say there isn't, but there is. And, everything Trump was impeached for was basically things that he was right about. And so, I think that's the one big opportunity we have, is to get rid of government employees. It takes 300 days to fire a government employee. We're trying to change that to 30. What they usually do is promote them to get rid of them, move them somewhere else. And so we got a lot of dead wood in the government. And I think that's when they talk about cutting $2 trillion, this and that, it's going to be trying to change that culture of just government waste that goes on and on and on, and they just wait us out until you get a new administration that goes along with their way of thinking.
Last question. Appreciate you coming on today. When I look at government, and the frustration I have is it's just so big and it's unwieldy at times, and it's crazy, because there are so many laws, so many rules, like you're talking about. It takes 300 days. It takes this. You go and you've got to prepare people. You talked on it earlier. What happened in Argentina with Milei, and the fact that he got inflation down and he's cut 30% of everything, he's got far more power. But poverty has risen there, but people see that it's moving in the right direction. What's the message going to be? Because there's going to be some bumps in the road. And as we all know, we're a fickle bunch here in America. Do you have a message for people out there when things maybe don't go the way originally it plans, because it's more long term?
Yeah, I was just in Argentina, and you're right. The inflation was terrible there, but they believe in this guy, and he's very Trump-esque, if that makes sense. And so it takes a maverick of a leader to have the courage to make the kind of changes that will actually make a difference. And you're right. So what I guess America voted for Trump. I think people who didn't like Trump voted for Trump because they believe that he's a guy that will actually do what he says he's going to do. And it's going to cause pain. We're all going to suffer. We have our first world problems here in this country. We all, we're kind of spoiled and this and that, but we're going to all have to make sacrifices if we're going to turn this around. And so people have got to be willing, when times get tough and you see cuts, and we're bringing manufacturing back, and goods may cost more because we're not getting them from China or other countries. We're going to all have to sacrifice. We're all going to have to give a little bit, but that's what it's going to take to turn this around. So, I mean, I hope the people have the will to make the sacrifice that it takes to, put the country in the right direction. I know Trump's willing to do that. I know he's putting people in cabinet positions that are willing to do that. The question is, will the American people go along with that and, make the sacrifice that it takes to make America great again?
Well, we're going to find out. Appreciate you coming on today. Look forward to talking to you again. Congressman Scott DesJarlais, thanks so very much, and Happy New Year.